First off, I want to apologize for last week. I had every intention of being here. I had every intention of calling in from the emergency room. But just as it would have been time to do that, he was getting out, and then we spent I now can write a book on the 24-hour pharmacy, the instant 24-hour pharmacy that is anything but instant. They are open all night, that is true, and they will get your script presumably on the day that it was issued, but not really in a very timely fashion. It was an interesting experience, but that gives us all the opportunity to be here today, and that puts us 2 weeks into a new year, and it's going to be an interesting one. The Chinese have a saying. I've yet to figure out if it is a blessing or a curse, and that is, may you live in interesting times. And we do. And we do it in a wonderful, wonderful profession. And I have been doing a lot of studying. And for me, studying is reading and listening to videos, listening to audios as I do things, taking up time, taking all that empty time and putting stuff in my head as I go through the day to approach things that we do differently. And whenever I start a new year or a new project or a new business or my own business with a new attitude, I find that I start picking up new quotes. And the one that I started off this year with was one I picked up at the end of 2016, like 4 days before the year was over. I read something that said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And that gave me great pause. So I wrote it down, I put it above my computer, I put it on the refrigerator, and I've been thinking about it a lot. And I've done quite a few calls like this week, and it's kind of been a starting point because it really can take you anywhere. But I want everybody to write it down because there's a lot of truth to that. How you do anything is how you do everything. And for me, that's played out in a number of ways this week. If you were on the call before you saw Lisa in the wonderful world of computers, how many people have figured out that if network marketing doesn't work out for me, computer repair or computer science will not be my next career choice? We are doing a lot of renovation around the house. And as you do that, I have started really organizing and putting things back together in the house. And I realized that for me, one of the big challenges has been that I am not a typical organized person. I like things to be neat. I'm overwhelmed. I always take on a great big project. I get about halfway through it. I look around whatever I'm doing, and I can't believe I've done anything because the room still looks there's so much stuff in it. It's like I've been working for hours and this looks messier than when I started. So then I want it to be over, so I put everything somewhere so it looks very, very neat. But I never put it away in a way that it's easy to know where things are. So I'm always in a frustrated state. So this time, room by room, I really put things away, not like the neatest organized person. I have given up my dreams of being, olive organized, Mary meticulous, because I'm not that girl. But now everything is all the things that sort of go together are together. And just the last week has been delightful because I know where some things are and I can go and I can find them. Now, for a lot of people, this sounds like, boy, that's easy. I've been doing that my whole life. But it really transmits over into your business because all of a sudden I look at it and I remembered this call. Romy reminded me, as she always does. And I appreciate that. And I always think that the reason I forget things is because I'm so busy and so much is going on. But it's because I rewrite myself notes and I leave them everywhere. So if I happen to be going on that path and I pick up the breadcrumbs along the way, I'll remember. But I actually started writing everything down, not in a calendar and not on the calendar on my phone, but in the journal that I always have with me. So nobody else will be able to follow my schedule, but I can. So I thought, what is the best lesson for network marketing in the beginning of the year? What is it that I get the most phone calls on? What is the big conflict that everybody's dealing with going into 2017? And I realized that for the last decade, and probably for the decade that is in front of us, everybody wrestles with online, offline, old school, new school. How do I talk to people? What do I say to people? How do you do this? How do you do that? In other words, the questions don't really change. They just manifest themselves in what's going on in the times. But here's what I've kind of noticed. And I want you all to think about this, and then I want to get some feedback because we'll see where to take it. But what I've noticed is from then to now in my 107-year career of doing this at my advanced age, is people really are having more difficulty today with plain old conversations than they used to. And I started to try to figure out, why is that? Because on the one hand, with the advent of social media, I see people making more connections than ever before. And I see people being able to build groups, teams, and customer bases faster than was ever possible when I started out in this space. Because of the absolute limitless, you're not limited by borders. Your town is what we're doing right now. Isn't this amazing? But it also brings some other things that are pretty interesting. And it's not just limited to social, to network marketing or business. It's especially true if you look at people that are younger. I see it with my kids. But starting with email and texting and social media, we now have an incredible ability to edit. If you think about it. That's why I'm loving this, and I love Facebook Live. But every time we send an email, it's, well, how should I say that? Well, let me think about how I'm going to say that. Every time we put a post up, every time we talk to somebody on Facebook Messenger, every time you communicate with somebody in a fashion where you can think about what you're going to say, and no, I don't want to say it that way, let me say it that way, we can edit what we're saying. Every time we can, just like we can retouch every picture we put on post on Instagram, or take 27 selfies to find the perfect one to put up. And what happens is image takes precedence over sometimes who we are. So having a real conversation when you just meet somebody randomly becomes more difficult for people because nobody's having them anymore to the extent that they did. Forget business. You know, everybody is doing this or doing this, or, you know, turning the camera the wrong way. Instead of taking pictures of what's in front of them, they're taking pictures of themselves. And connection is happening all over the place. Conversation is kind of disappearing. Just people just having, you know, an exchange of ideas going back and forth. And it's making it difficult for people to be vulnerable. People are starting to ask me, how do I, not what do I say to people to get them to look at my business. I'm having people ask me effectively, how do I talk to other people? And I'm bringing all this up because I think it's one of the challenges with having the whole world at your disposal. I had somebody call me today, and she was talking to me about the prospect she was working on because of the miracle that is social media in Singapore, Brazil, and somewhere else. But she had 500 people that knew her, that she knew, that she hadn't talked to about her business yet. And I said, well, how do you, I mean, it's great that you're being able to connect with people in Singapore and Brazil, but here's people that know you, that you already have a relationship with. Why aren't you talking to them? And she didn't even realize that had happened. It was just came out in a conversation that she was having with me. So I bring all this up because I think that 2017 is the year where we need to take all this wonderful stuff that technology does for us and all the wonderful stuff that we know how to do without technology, that everything I ever needed to know I learned in kindergarten. And if we can marry the two, business explodes. Does that make sense? Yes, no, yes, no.
Yes. That makes total sense.
So now that I've been so maudlin and depressing, there is a method to this madness. 2 weeks into a year, okay, 2 weeks into a year, Secret for 2017 is your calendar. I don't mean your date book, although that's important too, but it's always the calendar. And I think that when we get that people in that, or people in business, if you look at the most successful businesses in anything in the world, they live by a calendar. You can take any retail chain in the world, and what happens the day after Thanksgiving? They have a huge sale. They don't have a huge sale to make people shop. They have a huge sale because everybody always went shopping the day after Thanksgiving. And one day retail said, well, if everybody's going shopping anyway, how can we capitalize upon that? What happens after Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's with all the holiday eating? Everybody's thinking about losing weight. So it was always a boom for the weight loss industry. What happens? Same thing right before the summer. Everybody wants to get into bathing suits. It's a boom for the weight loss industry. What happens when the kids go back to school? You know, what businesses thrive? What, you know, if you look back to when you went to school, you started school, and what could you know, from 5 days into school, you were thinking about how many days till Christmas vacation? How many days till spring break? We live, when is summer break? Where are you going on vacation? As human beings, we live by the calendar. And businesses live by the calendar. So the first thing you want to do is you pull out the calendar. When's your big event? When's the national convention? Go find the date and write it down in your calendar. You know, and you should plan to be there. But whether you're going to be there or not, and you should be planning to be there, your world in business revolves around that event, because everyone who's important in your company and everything that's important in your company is all going to, there are specific things that are going to be happening on that day that are going to affect your business or should be affecting your business. There are things that are going to happen a month before that business or should be happening a month before that event that are going to affect your business. When are the regionals, the schools, every important event that is already scheduled in your business, you need to write into that calendar. Every important event that is scheduled in your life already, you know, vacation, things that you have planned need to be written into your calendar. Every important thing that you know of that is time that is non-negotiable for you, business or otherwise, needs to be written into your calendar. Once you've done that, and you start to fill it in, your year starts to take shape. Because you controlling your year controls your empire. Does this make sense? Yes? No? Don't worry, I'm going to get to all this fun stuff you're used to from me, but it's the beginning of the year, and I don't do this often. We might do this again in June to touch the half of the year. Then we're going to get into typical Lisa stuff, but I feel like if you do this every so often, you don't have to do it all the time. And that's the cool thing, is a lot of people are always going over nuts and bolts and fundamentals, and I don't talk about them often because they're a minute to learn, a lifetime to master, and they don't require a lot of thought if you just put them into play. Because people always want to know, how did you build a successful business? And I did the simple things that I could do without a lot of effort, because anything that required a lot of effort took me more. I am not a person who easily colors within the lines. I like to color outside of the lines. I think all entrepreneurs like to color outside of the lines. I think that's what makes you entrepreneurs. I think that's what makes you special. But you have to have a little bit of structure to operate within. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, the hardest thing for us is to find the structure. And usually it's already there if we just go out and kind of fill it in. And then we don't have to get lost finding it, because too much structure will stifle you. No structure will have you all over the place. And if you just look at the structure that's already in place for you and you work around it, it just falls into itself. It's very, very easy. Like the important events and things like that, because then all you have to do is work backward. You know, there's some very fundamental rules about success in business. If you look at them, I can tell you everything it takes to be successful in network marketing really comes down to 5 sentences. It's back to that, everything I needed to learn, I learned in kindergarten. The first thing you have to have is you need to use your product. Well, everybody's doing that, right? And the second thing you have to do is share your product. Well, that comes back to conversations I was talking about a minute ago. How you do it and getting more effective at doing it. But basically, if you're really having conversations with people, sharing your product becomes a very easy thing to do. The next thing you're going to do is share the opportunity with people. You're going to share the opportunity of sharing with them to share the product with others. So you're using the product, you're sharing the product. Now you're saying to people, hey, you're using the product, you can share the product too. Then you're going to, excuse me. You're going to share the business, you're going to share the product, you're going to share the opportunity to share the product with others. Then you're going to duplicate that process over and over and over and over and over again. And then you're going to build for events like your life absolutely depends on. Everything else doesn't really matter. It's stuff you'll learn through repetition and time. You do those things consistently and you'll have an explosive business. So again, you work backwards. You know, if you're using the product and you know where the events are, you know when the events are, and you know that you're going to be building for them, those are the bookends, then everything else that you're doing is bookended by that. Every day you get up and use the product. Every day you're cognizant of when your events are and you're building for them. And then all you're doing is going out and sharing the product with other people, telling the story. And then for a little variety, you tell the story some more. And you invite other people to come play with you to whatever degree they want and go tell the story. You know, and eventually you got a symphony of people that don't really have, nobody has to have a gorgeous voice, nobody's a soprano, but you put it together and all of a sudden you've got this gorgeous choir telling this amazing story all headed toward this event. So that's the simplicity of what we do. So using a product and knowing your dates of your calendar, and you're halfway home. Because everything else can be done just by talking to people and loving what you do and getting better through repetition over time. So, and then you work backwards. You figure out what it is you want to accomplish and you work it backwards. I want to have 50 people. I want to at least have 50 people on my team going to that event. Great. What are all the events that lead up to the event? Every call, every opportunity meeting, every Zoom, everything is an event unto itself, and every event feeds into the next event, feeds into the next event. And it's not just you, it's everybody you're working with. That is essentially all I ever needed to get prepped for a year, to get a year off right, was to be excited about the picture in front of me, because that's what it all comes back to. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you start off knowing what the year in front of you looks like, knowing what your available time is, knowing that it's all culminating in this major event, that is the ultimate milestone for this calendar year. And then, of course, when that event's over, we start on the next one, and you always have that picture in mind, then everything you do will take you there. And you'll do it with vim, vigor, and excitement. People that don't think about it except in a vague sense are always scrambling toward at the last minute, and then they never are really happy with the results that they have at that time. And it all feeds upon itself. The thing that I always tell people, the thing that really mixes people up with events, and why am I talking about it now? Because if everybody talked about events at the beginning of the year, if everybody started planning for the event like the day the event was over, they'd never have to talk about anything else in their business. If all it was I'm excited about the event, I'm going to go out and use the products and just keep talking about this amazing event that we're all going to together. Oh, well, tell me more about that. Well, come to this event, with a small event. Come look at this, come look at that. Like the Pied Piper, you'd have a ton of people with you. And the biggest challenge that people have in their business all comes back to being not really always being cognizant of the events, and this is where that happens. If you want to be a leader and really accomplish all your goals, and everybody can decide to what degree they do, then it goes without saying you're going to the event. And the way that I can always distinguish it is when events get close, people will call me and they'll say, and I'll say, are you going to the event? If you're deciding if you're going to the event or not, you haven't stepped over into leadership yet. That's okay. Because leaders are going and they're spending all of their time helping other leaders get new people to to understand the importance of them going to the event, because that's where their life changes. So a leader's already going, so their time is in putting together a group of people to go with. A person who's not decided to go or decides at the last minute, that's great, because that's a big decision that can turn their business around. But if you haven't decided to go, you're probably not going to have a lot of people that are going with you, because people follow decision, they don't follow debate, and they don't follow indecision. You know, I take that back. I will say that this past year, I think we had some debates that people watched on television and found them very entertaining. However, nobody left those really inspired to do anything either. So does all this make sense? So now we come back to, it's a new year. It's a great time. Everybody does New Year's resolutions. I don't do those anymore. I would like to tell you that I gave them up years ago because I was wise and brilliant, and I saw the error in my ways, and I'd be lying. My daughters, both my daughters have taught me things over the years, and I'm going to give you 2 lessons that came from them. The first comes from my youngest. She was about 6 and studying piano. She loves the piano. They both took lessons. When I wanted my children to have the opportunity to quit as many things as I did. I think children should be exposed to a lot of things that they can quit so that they can find something. And I got to quit tap, and I got to quit ballet. I have no rhythm whatsoever, but I thought I did. I was going to be a great dancer, and I quit many, many kinds of dance because I didn't move to Texas young enough. The one thing that I can do is line dance, because there are people in front of me and people to the side of me, and I can look at their feet. But they didn't have that up north. So I tried the typical things, like I said, ballet, tap, modern jazz. I tried them all, failed at them all miserably. I'm still looking for my dance. But so Hillary quit, Lauren did not. And one day I was telling Lauren, Lauren, you need to go practice piano. Practice makes perfect. And she looked at me, 6 years old, and said, Mom, that's just ridiculous. Practice doesn't make perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. Practice makes improvement. So that was an important lesson from a 6-year-old. New Year's resolutions. I always had New Year's resolutions until my oldest, Hillary, told me a few years ago that New Year's resolutions are, by definition, ridiculous. That we should have New Year's intentions. Because resolutions, once broken, which always happens, are a perfect excuse to now do nothing. Well, I broke that resolution. I'll wait for next year and set some more. We should have intentions, because we have the ability to just intend to do better. And we've got 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but we never have to lose our intention just because we didn't do exactly what we intended to the first time. The intention doesn't have to change. It's not a New Year's, and we don't have to only set New Year's intentions on New Year's. We can have New Year's intentions and goals throughout the year. So everybody is walking around with intentions. They've done reflection. There's a new year upon them. People are taking stock. They're coming off the holidays. They're thinking. There's a little bit of pessimism around right now. Optimism for us. We're all in a wonderful world of destiny control. We control our own. In times of pessimism, in times of uncertainty, network marketing tends to thrive. doTERRA is thriving. We all know it. The projections for doTERRA are amazing. It's one of the fastest growing companies in the world right now, and it's steady growth. I am, becoming very cognizant of oils. I think that everybody is. They've always been very popular, going back to ancient times, but they are really everywhere now. And because doTERRA is so big and has done such a large amount of the education around the world, as they say, a rising tide floats all boats, and the more awareness that is created, you guys, you're the ark, you're the biggest boat on the ocean, so it gets you the most attention. So with all of that going on, it's a wonderful time to reconnect, to reach out and touch people and have conversations. You have wonderful products. You have products that people want to try. It's a great time to sit down and go through your phone and see who you want to connect with. Because here's my message of the day. When you have conversations, when you have products that can help people, and you have people that can help you by trying your products, listening to your products, hearing what you have to say, letting you present, it's a mutual aid. See, conversations are a mutual aid society. Everybody wants to be listened to about what's going right in their life that they're excited about, or have somebody ask them what's really going on if maybe things aren't going so right. And every conversation is a benefit when you do what we do. If you pick up a phone and you call somebody and they ask you, you ask them how it's going and their life's going amazing, that's wonderful. We celebrate that. That's fabulous. I love when that happens because I'm in a business where I'm always talking to people. And not every conversation I get on is with a happy person. So I love when I talk to a happy person because, boy, they energize me for the maybe not so happy person I might talk to next, or the not so delightful person I may talk to that I pray for when I get off the phone, that they will find some delight in their life, before my next phone call with them maybe. But if things aren't going well, then I have solutions that might help them, and you have solutions that might help them. So it's a wonderful time to go through your phone and look at your phone, because in this world of social media and so many ways to connect, here is my piece of advice for the year, and then we're going to go to questions from you. But this is powerful. I want you to think about this. You might have anywhere from 500 to 5,000 Facebook friends in your Facebook community, and more friends on Twitter and Instagram, and a million other ways that you can connect with people, and Facebook groups, and there's so much. And other things that you do in the real world. But if you go through your phone and, forget lawyers and doctors and people that might be there, and they're probably friends of yours too, but people that might be there for those types of things. Other than that, with so many contacts and so many ways to connect with people in a digital, virtual world, if you come across on your phone that you couldn't call up and ask for their help to try your product, or let you present, or listen to what's going on in your life, or find out what's going on in their life, or pick their brain, or ask who they know who might be interested in what you have to offer, and know that they would be there ready to support you, and know that you would do exactly the same thing for them if they were to call you, and you don't feel that 100%, why are they in your phone? In this day and age, when so few people are actually talking to each other on the phone anymore, if they're in your phone, it should be somebody you can have that conversation with. And if they're not, delete them. Because you can chatter with them on Facebook Messenger, or you can text them on WhatsApp or in some other medium. But if they're in your phone list, they should be somebody that you can dial their phone that will say, gosh, Karina, I'm so happy to hear from you. Or how have you been, Amy? What's going on, Jill? Tell me what's going on in your world. Because if you do that, then your business is always easy to build. It's not that there's always somebody there that's going to jump up and say, gee, I want to join you today. But there's always somebody there that you can follow up with that's in process. There's always somebody there that you want to talk to that can make you feel better, or give you a different perspective, or introduce you to somebody, or give you an idea that you didn't have before. There's always somebody there when you go through it. There's 10 somebodies there. You won't know which one to call, because that's who your phone is filled with. And that's who you will fill up your phone with. And that is how your phone will become filled with world-class people. And people around you that you're doing this with, they will fight to be a person who's in your phone. Who, when the phone rings, you answer it because you see it, and they're important enough to get in your phone. Your time is valuable. And when you start treating it as such, when you start seeing yourself as the most valuable player in the game, the most valuable people in the game will be people that are playing with you. You will be treating yourself like the world-class player that you, in life that you are, the person who still has time for conversations, the person who cares enough about other people to be there. And not every person in your phone is necessarily in your business or will ever be in your business, but they will all be a person who will help your business or support your business as you will there, because they're true. That's how you get a monster business, when you're surrounded by world-class people. And everybody in your phone, your relationship network, they'll be in other places too. You'll still be connected to them on Facebook. But if they're in your phone, that should be your relationship network. That should be what you consider to be world-class, because you are. And that's it. That's the secret. That's 2017. When we sit here on 2018, you should be able to go through this phone, because it's not overnight. You're not going to go delete about half the people in your phone and replace them overnight. But a year from today, when you go through that phone, every single person in it should be a smile, bring a smile to your face. You should be connecting a person that you're connected with, even if you don't have to talk to them every day or even every month. But that anytime you call, it's like you just hung up the phone yesterday, because you're that connected and they're that excited to hear from you. And it's a world-class network. You feel like it's world-class. You feel like every one of those people makes you better and you help them make you better. And every person you talk to who's a diamond in your company or any other company, if you ask them to sit down and think about it, they will tell you that's what their phone looks like. And there may be people in it that they haven't deleted yet, but the people those people, they'll tell you they don't talk to them very often. When anybody that makes them frown or that is something, they found a way to avoid those phone calls or reduce it to texts or to move it to group or to talk to them in email. All those things I talked about at the beginning that is for too many people have allowed everything in their life to go that way. That has a purpose. It's great with everybody, see you at the mall at 2. Here's the address. This is when the meeting is, but it's not a place to live out relationships. In edited sentences. So that's my secret. It was a roundabout way to get there. I don't explain it to many people, but we've been working together for a while. But if you go through my phone, that's what you'll find. That's Romy and I. We met in a room that had 4,000 people in it, I think, or maybe that was a smaller one. Maybe that one had 1,800 people. But nonetheless, there were enough people there that we both met a lot of people that day. But we clicked, and we've been in each other's phones ever since. And that's why I'm here. And I did a call for Sarah Zolecki, Sarah, and John and Nadia Melton on Saturday with their company, because same thing. That's why we're in each other's phones. They do the same for me. Romy would do the same for me. And she does. That's why when I don't feel well and I go, she, wherever she is in the world, oils and instructions for oils show up on my doorstep. Wherever I am in the world, wherever Curtis is in the world. And I'll tell you, and that's why I never have fear. I never have fear if my business goes down or my business goes up, or what if this person doesn't like me, or what if I make a fool of myself over there, because I've got people that are so talented and so brilliant that I respect and admire so much in my corner, that if I'm really depressed, and like I told Romy tonight when she said, "Are you going to make the call?" I said, "Yeah, but when you see what I look like," and she said, "We love you no matter what you look like." I said, "It's because you haven't seen me yet, because I just have been going and going and going all day. I mean, look at me." And this is like, this was after I got this motley mess to be tied back with a scrunchie, because just for you guys and to demonstrate that I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, this is kind of how I looked before I put the ponytail in. And I walked in my bathroom and said, okay, I can't do that. At least I can give a ponytail. But that's it. But it's because I have people like that in my life that I can do that. Because even if every one of you goes on Facebook and says, I saw Lisa Grossman with no makeup on, with no blow-dried hair, and, she looks like a troll. I know Romy will still go out and say, that's not true. She looked gorgeous. And of course, in this age of video, she wouldn't, they'd all know that you were telling the truth. But once upon a time, they wouldn't have. Anyway, Now, how can I help you guys? Ask me anything.
Don't be scared.
Somebody's got to have one question. Karina, you have a question.
So basically, to summarize, well, what I got was that the relationship is super, super important, and those should be personal relationship, phone call, face-to-face. Those are the important ones, and those are the people in our phone.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say that everybody's not important, but it should be people should have to earn the right to get in your phone.
Kind of like getting put on our calendar.
Exactly.
They put themselves into our calendar. They put themselves into our phone.
You know, Facebook lets you have 5,000 friends, and for some people, they feel like that's not enough. I feel like sometimes, what is it, a contest to see any names? You can go to LinkedIn, they'll let you have as many as you want. Okay, any questions? Anything I can help you with?
Well, I don't have a question, but I do, but it makes me want to look at my phone and get rid of people. I mean, because I'm trying to lighten up the load in my life and just see all the people that pop up on occasion. It's like, why are they there? Why do I have them in my phone? And I also wanted to say that, Lisa, I can probably speak for everybody here. We love you no matter how you look. And when we see you, we're just happy. I mean, I know I am. I just love your face and your smile. And I don't think anything, whether you have makeup or your hair's up or down.
And I appreciate that. And I think the point I was making is that once upon a time when and I love everyone, but everyone shouldn't get the same degree of your attention, I think is what I'm saying. And the world has gotten so small, so wonderful in so many ways, but we're sacrificing sometimes conversation and connection for all these contacts. And when you have so many contacts, you have the pressure of so many contacts. You know, it's funny, if you were at Eric's event, and I didn't mean to do it, but you were there, Romy. I was sitting on a women's panel, and Marina had asked a question, and it was really geared toward women operating in a man's world, which network marketing, I love it, and it is the most wonderful profession on earth. But even here, and I'm more so in the United States, I think, than perhaps in Asia, so I recognize it more, having seen it, because when you first get into network marketing, it is, a great opportunity. No matter where you come from, man, woman, old, young, all of that, the opportunity is the same, but it doesn't mean the attitudes are necessarily the same. And I've been at it a long time. And I live in Texas, which for those of you that may not be aware, it's a tiny bit of a good old boy state. Just an itty bitty bitty bit. Not anything that anybody would really want to complain about, but, occasionally just a little bit. Very respectful of women in a very chauvinistic but fraternal sort of way sometimes. And she was asking about, pressure as a woman. Did you ever feel it in network marketing? And I just was thinking about stuff, you go back and you get caught up in a moment. And what happened was I was trying to answer the question talking about stuff that happened a long time ago. And, sometimes you get in a moment. It's like you're right back there feeling like the geeky girl in the class, or if I go back to when I was in 7th grade, the girl with glasses. I was the girl with glasses in the 7th grade, the smart one with, the one that when they tried to get you a date and they said, well, what's she like? They'd say she's smart, which was like the equivalent of saying she's not pretty because she's smart or something like that. And I said, I'm not a fashion plate. I've never been. And one of the things I loved about network marketing was I wasn't supposed to feel the pressure when they described it to me that you felt in the traditional world, with the clothes and the hair and everything else. But of course, for the longest time, I felt it here. All these women would be decked out to the nines, and they all look like it took them 5 minutes to walk off the cover of Vogue, and I could spend 10 I could spend 7 hours on it, and I would still look like I just came from the Girl Scouts meeting where I helped bake the brownies, because that's really who I am. And it took me a long time to not let that get to me, and I realized it's because of the people that I was around. So now I'm totally comfortable. I'll do meetings in my pajamas now. But that's because I started paying more attention to the people that were really paying good attention to me. And I stopped listening to voices that really had no meaning in my life. When I did my first interview with Eric, it was a very long time ago. You can go back and watch it. He just started Network Marketing Pro. It was like I think the 115th show. And I had just gotten back from Asia, to show you what a techno idiot I am. And they're somewhat behind. They're ahead in developing technology, but they're much more face-to-face. So Eric was in town. He came to Dallas. He said, come on down. Let's have a hot dog or a coffee or something. It was in August in Dallas, 115 degrees. I was in shorts, a jacket, a T-shirt, a ponytail, no makeup, and sweating. And he says, we should do an interview. And I'm like, great. And I said, well, where do you want to do it? Because the last interview I had done that was video, because I've been in Asia on and off for like 6 years, you had to go to like a studio where they had lights and they filmed it. And he pulls out something like this big. And I said, oh, you want it? He goes, we'll do it now. And I said, oh, it's audio. Okay. Because I thought it was a tape recorder. And he sets up this thing called a flip cam. I'm like, what's that? And he goes, it's my movie studio. And I'm on this little tripod, this little camera. And I was so fascinated as he's setting it up that I'm like, really? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like now? And it's occurring to me that with my drippy, sweaty face and my ponytail, we're going to go on video. And I'm thinking nobody's going to watch it anyway, right? I mean, we're sitting in this hotel lobby having this stupid conversation. I'm totally unaware of like people watching videos online. This is like 6, 7 years ago, longer. And we did the interview and it got a lot of response. That's how I got on Facebook. Eric called me and said, everybody's wanting to know how they can connect with you on Facebook. They can't find you. And I said, well, that's perfectly reasonable since I'm not on Facebook. And he said, you have to get on it. So my daughter put me on it. That's another story. She went and liked all of her favorite tastes. So I had people asking me, well, I didn't know that you liked Pink and, and Spin Magazine and all these things that she goes, well, you were busy. I didn't know what you liked, so I chose for you. She was 16 at the time, imagine. 8 years ago, she was 16. So all these people wrote me wonderful things. And this one guy writes me, I can't believe you're supposed to be successful and you didn't dress better for this interview and you weren't wearing makeup for this interview. I mean, this long thing. And forget all the people that send nice things. For 3 days, all I did was obsess over this person I didn't know and this one letter that he wrote me about how I didn't wear makeup. And I was like asking everybody, do you think I should have not done that interview? Should I have like gotten my hair done and worn makeup and everything? Because I got this letter and they're like, who wrote this letter? I'm like, well, I don't know who he is, but like, why is this person's opinion important to you? Finally, I'm like, why is it? Why is it that we don't hear all the people saying the nice stuff and this one person who, if I'd had makeup on and had done my hair, it probably would have been the wrong hairstyle and the wrong outfit and the wrong makeup artist anyway. But that's what we do. And we do that because we have voices in our head and there are people out there that will make us listen to that voice. And there are people out there that will talk against that voice and help us listen to our better angels instead of our demons. And when we have so many people around us, if we don't make people sort of earn their way into the higher echelon. Like you can be in my Facebook friends, of course you can. But to be in this smaller group, who are you? And but to get into my phone, so that you can make it ring, so that I have to stop and look at it, and then have to answer it. Well, if I don't want to answer it, why should I let you make it ring for me to even have to look at it? Because then you're taking care of you and you're better able to take care of others. And it took me a long time to learn that. But when I did, my business changed dramatically. Dramatically. because the drama left it. Your business is, and you are better able to serve people around you because you're happier. It's all about finding the joy. And the joy starts with what you expose yourself to on a daily basis. And the joy is finding is joyful people. That's why I'm here. I love you guys. You know, and you're great leaders. You ever want to know what a group looks, what a group is, what, you know, you don't have to know the leader of a group to know exactly who that leader is. Just look at the group. I can always tell you when I meet a group what their leader's like. Just by looking at the attitude of a group. Never, ever, ever met a group of, ruffians that were led by a really down-to-earth, peace-loving person. Never, ever met a group of, a group of generous, wonderful, delightful people that were led by somebody that was greedy and awful. It just, groups reflect leadership. Okay, let's see. I know, right? You just want a new phone? That's one way to go, but I'll tell you, only if I find one that I can type it all in on the computer and make it jump into the phone, because Blackberries, I was okay because they had the little things that popped up. But these phones, my thumbs are too big, the things are too small, and I'm a klutz. So for me, texting takes me forever. And Predictive, which was supposed to help, makes me send some messages that make me look really illiterate and stupid. So I turned that off. Oh, Karina, I see you've had that experience too. Yes, I wonder often who they're predicting, because the predictive never looks like anything I would have said. Anybody else? Anything I can do?
Lisa, this is Iris, and it's good to see you. I was the one that accosted you at Eric's GoPro.
You did not accost me.
I didn't get in on the first part of it, so I'm going to have to watch it again. But I love everything you do, so keep doing it.
So how many of you am I going to see in March at the women's event? Oh, Amy, yes, I got your thing. Iris, are you coming? You have to come. You know that's my favorite event. Don't ever tell Eric I said this, but I had to choose between the two. The women's event would get me. That was a tough event for me. I loved it. The content was amazing, but I didn't get to see people the way. I never even got to see Romy. We never did connect. That event was very tough for me with that venue, because even when I was in it, I was like the content. But outside, even when you got outside of it, the hallways and not being like a hotel, and the only place that Starbucks was hardly a place to meet. It was like a place to go stand in line. I gave up. Never once got to the front of the line. I don't really like coffee that much at all, actually. And for a bottle of water, it hardly seemed worth the effort. Well, I hope a lot of you come, because that is my favorite event of all the events. Have any of you ever